Well, Maria, I think it's a paradigm shift. You know as well as I do, work restores dignity. Yeah. Work brings pride. You know, and our welfare system deviated from what it was intended to be from its origin. It was intended for the most vulnerable, to the most needy in our country. But now we've created welfare as a lifestyle in our country. And, you know, America is not a welfare state. America is a country of opportunity and a country of entrepreneurship. And so this will help us to encourage able-bodied people in America that are receiving government subsidies to work. You know, there was a study that came out, almost 50% of households that are receiving HUD funds, almost 50%, not one person in that household is working. And that has to change. That culture, that paradigm has to change. At HUD, this is common sense compassion. We want to help people and invigorate and encourage people to work, able-bodied people to work. We're not talking about the elderly. We're not talking about those that are disabled. Able-bodied, able-minded people that are receiving HUD funding should go to work to restore dignity, Maria. Maria, you get up early in the morning and you work, you serve. And so we want to give other people and encourage others the same opportunity. And so this is a great step forward, working with our colleagues at Agriculture and also Health and Human Services and Dr. Oz to be kind of a catalyst to change the trajectory of the lives of people in our country.
I think it's a great point that you make, Secretary.
Here we have it. First things first, shout out to the King Squad. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let's get right into it. All right, it says this is on Multifamily Dive. I figured I'd check this out for myself. Trump proposes cutting $33 billion in HUD funding, including Section 8. The budget proposal prioritizes state-based grants over federal aid and would include a 2-year cap on rental assistance for adults without disabilities. Okay, there we go. In his budget plan for fiscal year 2026, President Trump has proposed cutting a total of $32.9 billion in funding to HUD. The plan includes a $26.7 billion cut to federal rental aid, approximately 40% of the total, and would essentially end Section 8 and other housing voucher programs, according to NPR. Instead of providing aid at the federal level, the budget proposes creating a grant program to send rental assistance funds to states. It would terminate many federal regulations, incentivize states and the private sector to provide affordable housing, and work in tandem with efforts to open public lands to development. All right, you guys can pause this and read it for yourselves. It's right here on the screen. This is on Multifamily Dive. All right. I pretty much typed in Trump cutting Section 8. I was just curious. I want to see this for myself. President Trump's bold budget proposes a reimagining of how the federal government addresses affordable housing and community development, said HUD Secretary Scott Turner in a statement on the discretionary budget proposal. It rightfully provides states and localities greater flexibility while thoughtfully consolidating, streamlining, and simplifying existing programs to serve the American people at the highest standard. Housing advocates hold a different view. The Washington, D.C.-based housing advocate National Alliance to End Homelessness has urged Congress to reject the budget proposal and says that the cuts would effectively end funding for 166,000 units of permanent supportive housing for the formerly homeless. All right, and lastly, it says between 2023 and 2024, homelessness increased by 18%, yet this proposal would strip funding for HUD's homelessness programs by 12%. That is a recipe for disaster, said Ann Olivia, CEO of the National Alliance to End Homelessness. Quite frankly, guys, I'm interested in seeing how this plays out, okay? As far as, people getting kicked out of Section 8 and stuff like that, with people that are pretty much just freeloading on the system and just that, because that's the first thing that comes to my mind is people that choose to freeload on the system. Yeah, I don't support that at all. I don't support people freeloading on the system. I think it's good that people who can work should work, all right, and contribute to society, all right, especially with, America being an entrepreneurial country, okay? So, you pretty much people come from nothing and build something for themselves, whereas you have Americans that are living here taking this opportunity for granted and would rather live on the system and be a parasite to the system. That kind of stuff right there, that leech mentality, I can't get down with that. So I'm definitely interested in seeing how this plays out. And, I definitely like to see what Trump is doing. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. And let's continue on with the video.
And HUD Rental assistance by up to 40%,
Goodness.
shifting the burden to states using block grants.
Yeah, that's right. And what does that mean in the real world? Cities like San Francisco estimate that over 1,900 people could lose their home. Public housing authorities like New York to Phoenix warn of increased evictions, overcrowding, and homelessness.
Yep. And you got Section 8. You're not just slashing numbers.
Mm-hmm.
You're slashing lives, futures, kids' access to education, and safety.
Mm-hmm.
And this ain't just a theory. These are real life consequences that will happen once this program has been slashed.
So let me get this straight. The guy with gold toilets wants to end Section 8. So the Trump administration is now floating the idea of cutting Section 8. You know, the program that keeps grandma from living in her car or a mother with children living in a shelter. But wait, billionaires get tax breaks the size of Texas, and that's all cool. But helping people afford a one-bedroom? Socialism. This ain't about budget, y'all. It's about punishment. Nothing says make America great again like making the poor homeless and building more golf courses at Mar-a-Lago. The cherry on top is some of you are actually out here cheering this on. Like you ain't got a voucher in your cousin's name and a P.O. box in your aunt's zip code. Be serious. Should your landlord be a politician too? Or should we start actually voting like housing matters? Because rich people ain't playing. They want everything.
This administration is proposing about 40% cuts to Section 8 housing vouchers. What does that mean for you? Maybe you don't get subsidized housing, so you think that does not matter, but it does. It always matters because Section 8 will also provide funds to developers to build housing specifically for subsidized tenants. That means, whether it's an apartment community, single family, duplex, fourplex, like those are funds. They said, oh, we're just going to send it back to the states, which essentially means we're going to leave you guys high and dry. And if you have a state that is fiscally responsible, great, good for you. I do not. I live in Mississippi, and our state is infamous for misallocating funds, stealing funds. We let people literally run amok. Oh, and we just passed legislation this past legislative session to eliminate the income tax. We are already subsidized at one of the highest rates by the federal government. They are eliminating FEMA. Like y'all got to look at the budget proposals, because some people are saying, oh, this will be good because if we get all those, Section 8 tenants out, then the housing market, the prices will change. Y'all, there's so much nuance in this. What is going to happen is those people are going to have to leave. And where will they go? There are no programs. Federal funding has been cut from almost every federal program or grant or subsidy that was provided to assist people with things like this.
To you people up here that's not on Section 8, not on public housing assistance, congratulations, okay? You got it together. You know what I'm saying? You did the dang on thing. You went to school. You got educated. I'm one person that do have education, okay? Did I graduate high school? I had complications in school? Yes. The answer is yes. Do I have some type of college education level? Yes, I do. Okay, I want to fast forward to this.
Oh, man.
Does not mean that I ended up making that type of money. You know what I'm saying? With everything going the way that it's going, and I'm speaking for the Section 8 issue that's going on, where he's talking about no more Section 8, no more food stamps and all this other stuff, okay? I want to speak on that I do not get Section 8. You know what I'm saying? I'm not on Section 8. You know what I'm saying? I am on public housing assistance, and however, let me clear that up. It took a while before I even applied for public housing assistance because I'm in between jobs like crazy.
Miss, can you please stop smacking me on the camera?
I've been paying market rent all my life before anybody say, yeah, she just saying that because she on public housing assistance and she just doing that because she trying to milk the system for life. No, my goal was not to milk the system for life, but it did help me temporary because I will be moving. Let me put this out here. I will be moving back out and back into market rent apartments, okay? But there are some people, everybody ain't just passing through like me. There are some people that cannot afford, like me, to move off of Section 8, okay? I know people that got 5+ kids. They cannot afford that. And whatever choices that they made that was poorly, that is on them. Nobody is walking this earth is perfect, man. It is some rude, ignorant ass people on here that's talking about, oh, I hope it get cut off. Really?
I personally don't agree with a lot of things Trump is saying, but this one specific thing makes sense to me. To all the people that's on Section 8, he is giving y'all 2 years to get on your feet. Trump said stop being dependent and become independent. I agree. I'm not no hating ass bitch. I'm not knocking nobody's situation. But if you really think about it, Section 8 is only to assist you to get on your feet. Section 8 is a stepping stone to get you on your feet. Section 8 is not something you should depend on for the rest of your life. Government assistance is not something you should depend on for the rest of your life. Keyword, assistance, to assist you. Y'all done got too comfortable. Too comfortable. There's people that's been on Section 8 for like 10+ years. That's a long time. Within that amount of time, you should have a lot of money saved up in your bank account, in your savings account. Y'all too busy buying the newest shoes, buying the hottest cars, trying to keep up with the trend, buying designer purses, buying designer clothes, but you're in public housing. If you can buy designers, you can pay your house rent without assistance. Let that sink in. If you can buy designers, you can pay your house rent without assistance. I mean, I get it. There's a lot of single mothers out here also that need those type of assistance. But if you just comfortably living off Section 8 and don't care, that's crazy to me. That's the reason why nobody else can get in, because y'all be on Section 8 for years. Y'all not thinking outside the box. Y'all being so dependent. Stop being so dependent and let's become independent.
Trump is not wrong for limited amount of years that you could be on Section 8. Let's be real. Some of these people been on Section 8 since I was a kid and I'm 19 years old. You've been on Section 8 for 19 motherfucking years? No, it's time for your lazy ass to get off of Section 8 and get to fucking work. No shame. Like, people use Section 8 as just a clutch and just spend their money on whatever they want, get their little cheap rent, and then they stay on it. And then the younger girls, we having kids and they can't really get no jobs, especially in a time like right now. It's like, girl, that's not fair. Fuck no. I don't feel bad for none of them motherfuckers. Unless they disabled, unless some people, the only people I feel bad for is disabled or very elderly people that cannot work. But if you are in your 30s, 40s, and low-key your late 20s too, and you can work, like I'm talking about, you can get you a career, I don't feel bad for you getting kicked off Section 8 because you've been on there for 10, 20 years. No shade. In Georgia, to qualify for Section 8, I think it's $40,000. You can only make $40,000 a year for a 4-person household. So if a household with a mama, daddy, and 2 kids, they make $40K a year and they're on Section 8 paying $500 in rent. Mind you, $40,000 a year is around, what, $3,000 some dollars a month? If you can't save at least $1,000 while you on Section 8, your ass don't deserve to be on there. Like, if you on there for 2 years, you can't save at least $10, $20, $30, $40,000 to, you know what I'm saying, restart your life and get your life back on track. Baby, you do not deserve to be on there. Because some of y'all get y'all cheap rent and then y'all gonna splurge y'all money on a whole bunch of other shit. And then the young mamas try to get on Section 8 and they can't because all these old motherfuckers making money and not trying to get off of it. No shade. I don't feel bad.
And let's become independent.
Section 8, baby, let's talk about it. Section 8 is a blessing. It was created to help people who are struggling, not as a trap, but as a trampoline. It's supposed to give folks room to breathe while they rebuild. Mentally, financially, emotionally, spiritually. Let's be real, not everybody uses it like that. Instead of elevating, some people are doing everything that they can to stay stuck. And it's not because they can't grow. It's because they've grown comfortable and struggle. The first thing is, if I make too much money, they'll raise my rent. So instead of leveling up their income, people start turning down hours, quitting jobs, choosing under the table work. They can keep their rent low. They fear abundance because they believe to condition that more success equals less support. What they don't realize is they're capping their own potential just to stay small. A lot of people feel like, why leave if I'm comfortable? Don't
Some folks get used to paying $0 to $20 of rent, so they just stop striving. They stop planning to own a home, improving their credit, or breaking generational curses. They just sit. Meanwhile, people with the real needs, single mom with disabled kids, the elderly, folks on disability, are sitting on the waiting list for years.
Ultimately, my thoughts on this whole thing is like, I absolutely love to see it, okay? So the people that really need it, they can get it. But the people that are leeching off the system, they gotta go. That's how it translates to me, and that's what I believe, most people are seeing, like the conservatives, especially the black conservatives, okay? And yeah, I mean, everybody's seeing it, all right? And this is like what we voted for, okay? Common sense is back on the table, and like a lot of people are just leeching off the system. A lot of people just don't strive for more. They don't have that entrepreneurial, spirit in them. They just want to, be lazy and just be a parasite and be useless to society. And they don't want to help anybody. They don't want to help themselves. They don't care about their kids. The whole thing is just a hot mess. And to see this lights a fire under people and like forces them to go do something with themselves. Like, no, you cannot sit here and just be a loser in life. No, you have to go make something of yourself and actually apply pressure, actually conquer out here, actually, be a productive citizen of America. Okay. It's a huge opportunity to live here. And you got people that literally come through the border legally. Okay. And they come from nothing and they make something huge for themselves, absolutely gigantic for themselves. Why can't Americans do the same? Americans can do the same. Okay, you have to apply it. You have to apply the knowledge. And especially in today's day and age too. I mean, we have YouTube, TikTok, a plethora of apps and websites and stuff like that to learn new skills and high ticket skills and stuff like that. Things that allow you to open the door for you to turn your life around for the better. So a lot of people, for them to still just sit here and rather just do nothing and just collect, government benefits and welfare benefits and destroy their homes and all types of nonsense. It's, I can't get behind it. I can't support that stuff. So to see this is absolutely like refreshing. It is just absolutely awesome to see. Shout out to Trump. Shout out to the Trump administration. I absolutely love to see this. Drop down below in the comments what you guys think. Let me know what your thoughts are. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.